Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to tackle a subject that I have really been looking forward to. I'm so enthused about covering it. The subject of how to buy a bike. So what I just said about a subject that I'm really enthusiastic about getting, it's not really true. It's one of the subjects that I wanted to avoid like the plague because it's such a complex issue. There's been so much information out there on the subject. I have seen some really bad things going on with the industry, people walking into bike shops and coming out with the wrong type of bike for what they say they want. And I just wanted to kind of catalog what I think you should be trying to do if you say, I want to do group riding. If you're like, I want to do group riding, which is the type of riding where a group of people get together, we ride our bikes, and the whole objective is to get as quickly and efficiently from one place to another, then you're going to need what's called a road bike, or at the very least, you're going to need a hybrid that you can later maybe swap out the tires and a few components on. You can upgrade a little bit to make it even more efficient. So anyway, before I actually get into what type of bike you should buy and how you should buy a bike, I want to talk to you about what type of bike you should not buy. There are certain things that are called specialty bikes. Specialty bikes are designed for single purpose use, and there's basically four. The first one is a time trial bike. A time trial bike is designed for Ironmans. They're designed for time trials. There are radical speed machines. They're designed to go as fast as possible over a straight line. The issue with them is that they're not group ride friendly. In fact, many group rides will tell you that if you have a time trial bike, that you cannot join their group ride. The reason being is that when you're in a time trial position, you're away from your brakes and you're away from your shifters usually, which it becomes a safety issue. They also are not that maneuverable because the geometry of the bike is designed for it to go in a straight line. Also, it puts you into a very radical cycling position. So if you're not really used to it, it could be a little bit of an issue. So don't get stared into buying a time trial bike if you want to do group riding. Now, if you're planning to do time trials and Ironmans, by all means, get you a time trial bike. But if your objective is to do group riding, then you don't need to be on a time trial bike. Next, mountain bike. Nothing wrong with mountain bikes if you're going mountain biking. If you plan to do trails, tackle the gnarly stuff, go ahead and get you a mountain bike. But if your objective, again, is to ride with a group, they're not efficient. They're heavier, they're slower, bigger tires that create more friction when they ride. They have usually full suspension, and even the ones where you can lock out the suspension all the way, you're still going to get hop when you're riding, which means everybody's riding smoothly, the power is going down efficiently, and you're getting bike hop. So mountain bikes won't work for group riding. Next, beach cruisers. I really shouldn't have to explain that one. They're designed for, riding around, going to the beach, people watching. That's the one type of bike that I can probably get my wife on. They only have one gear, coaster brakes, not efficient. They're slow. They're not going to get the job done. And speaking of one gear, single speed bikes, track bikes. If you're planning to do group riding, do not get a single speed. Single speed bikes are great to go to cafe stops, ride around your neighborhood, that kind of things. But because of them only having one gear, they're inefficient over different terrains. If you're climbing, descending, you just don't have the flexibility of changing into different gears to optimize your cadence and ultimately optimize your speed. So those are the four types of bikes that I would stay away from if I were looking to get into group riding. So next, let's talk about how to buy a bike. There's kind of three ways to do this. The best way to buy a bike is if you have a friend that's a cyclist, that's trustworthy, that knows what they're doing, and they're willing to help you through the process of purchasing a bike. That's the best way to do it. That friend can either go with you to a bike shop, talk to you about the right size bike you should be on, the right type bike you should be on, the nuances between the different manufacturers, and just kind of like guide you through the process a little bit better. They'll be like your bike buying Sherpa. That is the single best way to buy a bike. One of the advantages of having a friend who's willing to help you is that you can actually buy bikes on a used market, because they'll be able to tell you what are the good deals, which are the good bikes that hold up well, what are the right types of components. So it's actually, when you have the ability to buy a used bike on a used market, you're really starting to get into the money, and you can get a great deal. So that's the best way, is to have a friend who's willing to help you. The second thing is make a decision to do what I call bike shop reconnaissance. So you're going to go to several bike shops, identify different bike shops in your area, and try to go to bike shops where you can get a variety of manufacturers, okay, not just the specialty stores. Those being Specialized, Trek, Cannondale, Fuji. I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out. But anyway, the awesome thing about those main manufacturers is you can kind of throw a blanket over them in terms of the distinction between their bikes, because they're all kind of the same. They're just small nuances, maybe some aesthetic differences, the paint of them, but they're all kind of the same. They all run the same components. You can't go too wrong buying one of those main bikes that I've just mentioned. Bike shop reconnaissance. Go to the bike shop, ask the question, I'm getting ready to get into road riding. What do you recommend in terms of size and bike? Here is my budget. It's $800 or it's $1,300. And they'll kind of give you an idea, a little bit of an education about what bike you should use, what your type is more or less, small, medium, large, 52 centimeters, 56 centimeters. And you'll start to get an idea. You'll start to form a picture. Don't buy. I don't care how sweet the eye candy is. You're making a commitment to get information from different bike shops. Commit to not to buy. Once you have visited 3 or 4 bike shops in your area, then make the decision of, after you've compared notes and you say, I kind of like this one from this shop and at this price, then go purchase the bike. Understand that the bike you purchase may not be 100% right for you. There is no ideal in bike buying. There's always little things that happen here and there where you're like, oh, this could have been better, this could have been a little bit different. That's okay. This is not your forever bike. This is just your first bike to get you going with the whole activity of group riding. The third way to buy a bike is there are affiliated groups around the country. Most towns will have Anytown flyers or Anytown freewheelers, and they usually post on Facebook or meetups, and you can go to one of their group rides before the start of their ride and ask who's the person who helps new people with bike riding, with bike buying, and they're usually somebody who is willing to at least give you some basic information. Those are kind of like the ways that work best. The worst way to do this is to get on a Facebook page like the one that we're on right now and ask what kind of bike you should buy, because it's really difficult for a person to help you navigate the process that way. So those are the ways to buy a bike. This is a road bike. It is a vintage road bike. You may have one of these in your garage. Your uncle might have one in a garage. Your neighbor might have one in a garage, and it's characterized by the double triangle that I explained to you guys on one of my previous videos, simple gears, what we call a drop bar, skinny tires, and this one is actually made of steel. You may have access to one of these somewhere in your life, and if you do and one works well, there's no reason why you can't actually start doing your group riding on a vintage road bike. This is a modern road bike characterized by the same features. It's just made out of a different material. This one happens to be made out of carbon fiber. It's lightweight, has all the bells and whistles, super stiff, super efficient, super fast. Two characteristics that you're looking for in modern road bikes. One of them is that they're either made out of carbon fiber, and I recommend entry level that you use something made out of aluminum. Aluminum has come a long way over the last few years. They're a lot less expensive than carbon fiber bikes. For what you're using in terms of getting into the sport, I promise you, you're not going to feel the difference between a well-made aluminum frame and an entry-level carbon frame. The thing at this point that you want to focus on is having the proper group set. And this is a cyclocross bike / gravel bike. This is designed to be multi-surface use bike. You can take this on the road and actually get in a very good road ride, and I have, but you can also take it on the gravel. It doesn't have a suspension other than but it's a very capable machine. And gravel bikes have been becoming more and more popular. They're very capable. They usually have a very generous amount of tire clearance so that you can fit not only tires that have a large volume capacity, but tires that have threads on them so that you can have some grippy stuff when you actually get on a gravel or on a dirt or on the loose surface. But if you look at it, you're like, it looks just like a road bike with drop handlebars, but you could easily put flat bars onto this and have a very capable machine as well. This one is carbon fiber, but my recommendation is if you're looking to do this, I would definitely get a gravel bike, but I'd get a gravel bike that is made out of aluminum with basic components. This is a hybrid bike. This is characterized by, and this is aluminum, is characterized by the flat bar, no suspension, okay? This actually does have cantilever brakes instead of disc brakes. It's a slightly older model. Excuse the red paint, I was trying to see how red would look on it. This is a bike that I actually purchased on OfferUp for a couple $100. Cleaned it up a little bit, swapped out some of the heavier components that it had on it because it's supposed to be Betty's bike, my wife's bike. She's not gonna ride. But this would be a good bike that a person could use. One of the neat things about this bike is if you change those tires and put regular road tires on, you'd have basically a road capable bike. So that's it. That's kind of all I know about buying a bike. Again, if you make a mistake or if you feel like the bike that you have is not the best, it's not your ideal, again, it's okay. You guys will get a divorce or a separation and you'll be on to a new bike in short order, because the first road bike that you buy as an adult is not going to be your first bike. Don't sweat it too much. I'll tell you, the most important thing is to make sure that you get as close to the proper fit as possible. Get as close to the proper fit as possible. Purchase an entry-level road bike or a hybrid that's made out of aluminum. Look for entry-level components, basic components on the Shimano side. If you can get 105, get Shimano 105. Down from Shimano 105 is Tiagra. SRAM, you're looking at Rival. Campagnolo, you're looking at Centaur, if you can get Centaur or Athena. You don't really need the shiny stuff entry level. Now, if you can afford the Shimano Ultegra, the Campagnolo Record, or the SRAM Force, by all means, get it. All I'm saying is that it's not necessary. So that's it. That's what I know about bike buying. I hope the information helped. Thank you for continuing to watch. Again, please share the video, like, comment, subscribe if you've not subscribed. Our focus is to continue to put out good content, to continue to benefit the cycling community. We want to build better cyclists, and we want to make sure that we continue to inform, instruct, and inspire. Be blessed, guys.